Patrick is having the camera menu right now. Apparently we're going to take turns. He's going to turn it on, and I'm going to turn it off.
Well, it's dirty work, but somebody's got to do it. Speaking of dirty work, we went to a very cold, very wet high school track meet yesterday.
Yeah, it was miserable.
And amended. There was no long jump, no pole vault, no triple jump yesterday.
The triple jump and the long jump were both scheduled now. I'm not sure the pole vault was.
They don't have a pole vault pit.
But they were scheduled. They were just simply mudded and rained and couldn't get the track, the pit in good enough shape to jump in. So it was a pretty short meet. Campbell County didn't have, probably half of the team didn't quite make the event.
You can look at the standings at the end. The girls finished. Campbell County girls finished in 4th place. Campbell County's boys finished in 3rd place. It was a 9-team field, and it did include Bearden, which is a pretty strong West Knox powerhouse.
Anderson County's got a really good track team as well, so they were there.
Yeah, Anderson County girls finished 2nd. Of course, now Campbell County was missing Kristen Chapman because she had some family issues she had to deal with. So that's an automatic 10 points off your score when Kristen's not there.
Yeah, she really, really good. I'm not sure if what happened. One of the girls didn't show up for the 4x100 and 4x200 apparently. So that I'm not sure that they didn't participate in that either. They were scheduled to and didn't manage it.
And the long jump and triple jump, Amber Young usually has a pretty good day in those. But on the upside, Shayla, who is the shot put and discus thrower, now she's already set the school record in shot put. She set a record that has stood for going on 4 decades. It's been there almost since the school has.
This was the first probably class of shot putter that they had on the track team set the record.
Now, yesterday she didn't set a school record, but she set a personal record in the discus. She threw the discus 107 feet and 9 inches.
That's a very good throw. We watched a lot of guys throwing that didn't throw it that far.
Well, let me put that in perspective. The boys' discus was one with 102 feet 11 inches.
Here's the most amazing thing about it. We were over at the discus area before Shayla threw. It was exceptionally windy, and the wind was blowing
Towards you.
Towards the discus
thrower.
And sort of towards that bank. It wasn't wind aided at all. She was throwing into the wind.
So Shayla, who it turns out this is her first year running track, basketball teammate Amber Young helped convince her to go out for track, and she's had just an amazing year. I mean, she's ranked in the state in her throwings.
Yeah, it was a good decision for her. She's probably going to make the state tournament. And
she's already qualified for sectionals. She's a good athlete. She's very powerful in the post position on the basketball team. She gets a lot of those second chance points for the team, and in the discus she's
obviously very good in the discus and shot put both.
Also, Lauren Evans yesterday won the 3200 for the girls. Yeah. That's pretty big. 3200 is an endurance race.
Lauren, she is the main girls distance runner. She runs the 8, 16, and 3200 for the girls. I'm not sure where she finished in the 800 and 600, 1600 part.
Now, for Anderson County, Kendra Miller had another great day at the 100-meter hurdles. She took first place with just 16.3 seconds.
That's not her fastest time, but I'd say it was exceptionally windy.
She was actually running into the wind, but once you got to the dash portion, the wind was actually aiding the runners. But during the hurdles, she was running into the wind.
You jump, it literally, I'm a big guy, and the wind was, it was blowing me around out there.
Yeah, it was a windy day. I mean, it was, like I say, Coach Ann Browning called it track weather. I just call it awful weather.
I try to have a few highlights on YouTube of some of the stuff, and you're going to hear the wind blowing really, really hard.
In the 4x100 boys relay, Campbell County placed 2nd. So they had some goodness going on there. Some other highlights: Kendra Miller came in 2nd in the 100-meter dash, 13.27 seconds.
That's a good time.
Then you get down here.
You know, I'm not sure, in the high jump, we had someone in it. It was, Nathan Kennedy maybe?
Nathan Kennedy and Lucas Nelson both did boys high jump.
Nick Litton is normally, I'm not sure where he was at.
He normally jumps about 6 feet.
He actually wins several of these events. He's usually the best high jumper on the team.
In the 4x400, that was one of the ones that Campbell County did not have anyone in, and that's usually a pretty good race for them. Now, on the boys' side of the throwing, Garrett Reese had a really good day, especially with the shot. And in the high jump, Lucas actually jumped 5'8" to win second place. Nathan jumped 5'8" to take third place, meaning that Nathan scratched once, because you get 3 attempts at a height.
I believe that it's maybe based on that.
And I think we have some video of Nathan
I think.
doing his jump. And, you know, it's just, this track team is going to be at home Tuesday.
You should come out, come watch them, give them your support, buy concessions.
Yeah, these kids, they work hard. All these spring sports are low recognition sports. Baseball has a little bit of a following.
Believe me, if you had been out there yesterday in that wind and that cold, you wouldn't have wanted to stay out in it all day like they had to.
Yeah, I mean, these are some dedicated players. Softball has a smallish following. Track has a smallish following. Tennis, by the very nature, is always going to have a small following. It's a small team, and they have to actually split the team.
Yeah, it's the boys usually play behind Shell in downtown La Follette, and the girls play at the park.
And most teams will not come here.
That makes it hard to get home matches. I think they only have maybe 3 home matches this
Right.
year because of that.
I mean, everywhere else they go. Now, a lot of the West Knoxville teams play at Tyson Park, but there are so many courts at Tyson Park that there's no problem with splitting the teams.
Well, even so, they still have on-campus facilities there.
They do.
We were at Carnes yesterday in West Knoxville. They had a nice big tennis court.
Oak
They
Ridge.
had 2 or maybe 3 courts.
Oak Ridge has hosted the district tennis tournaments for up to 10 years, as long as I can remember. In fact, they're actually not this year. It's going to be somewhere else for a change, which is,
I think it may be at Tyson Park.
I believe they did say at Tyson Park. But what that gets to is, for a long time, Campbell County didn't have a softball field at the school. They had to go play at it was just East La Follette then.
Yes.
You go to these schools now. I said Oak Ridge has great facilities. Carnes had a good facility. Cumberland Gap High School, much smaller. And they're new. They're a newer school, but much smaller school than Campbell County, has their own tennis courts. As does Claiborne County High School, built at the same time. And of course, J. Frank White up there also has tennis courts, as they're part of LMU. But these 3 tiny schools have tennis courts. And then you look at Campbell County, we don't.
We really should, try our best to rally behind the coaches up there and the players and get them tennis courts.
We've got these big open stretches of field coming into the school.
There's lots of land up there that they can put them on.
Easily. I mean, that's how Oak Ridges are set up. They sit in front of the school.
You can put them in front of the school. There's room behind the school. There's plenty of room for tennis courts.
And these kids deserve to be able to have home matches.
Yeah, I mean, they're out there. They go to the school same as everybody's on any other team up there goes to the school and has their own.
And this tennis team, I was talking to Coach Ivy, they're most likely going to have the best winning percentage of any spring sport this year.
Yeah, they're up in the top 3 in the district right now.
They've won 7 matches.
The district's pretty loaded,
Oak Ridge,
Maybe you
Halls.
have your Oak Ridge and your Knoxville schools that have their own course, that have the big
a
population.
lot of the Knoxville teams go to the Smoky Mountain Tennis Academy. I've got a really good friend that I went to ETSU with that's a tennis instructor in Knoxville that has worked with Campbell County in the past when he lives here, but in his job now, he works with a lot of these teams. We don't have anything like that here. You know, we don't have practice facilities for them. These are public courts. If by some strange stretch of reality, John and I are playing tennis
It would be a very big stretch.
at the rec center, there's nothing to say that we have to give up our court to the high school. I mean, we would, but there are people that would not. You know, they have to fight for their practice time. They have to fight for their play time. Now, I know the park and the rec center are really good, especially to take care of them during matches. You know, we've got a great recreation department, we'll call it, and we have an outstanding state park, and they take good care of these kids.
You know, they're nice places to play tennis, but it's not the same as having your own home court.
Right. I mean, especially the fact you have to split the teams.
That's you know, that leaves Coach Ivy. He has to go to either one team or the other team.
Same thing. You know, we were talking. A lot of the schools only have one tennis coach.
Yeah.
They won't schedule a home meet here because they can't split. You know, they can't just say, "Yeah, well, you know, I'm going to go here and I'm going to send a parent up there." It doesn't work that way. Coach Ivy's lucky enough that his brother, also a teacher, also an administrator in the school system, is able to be his assistant coach and help him out. You know, those guys, they're really some unsung heroes because, yeah, and granted, we've not been to a lot of tennis matches because they don't have home matches.
Yeah, they get called off a lot too. It's been a bad weather year. Here's another thing. Apparently, coaches in other districts and other school systems, if you coach the girls' team and the boys' team, you get a stipend for each.
Here you get a stipend for coaching tennis.
You know, here, you know, Coach Ivy, he's coaching both teams
He literally,
with one stipend, basically.
by that logic, and different schools pay different supplements, but he's basically getting half a coaching supplement for each team, and that's not fair.
Now, he's doing a really good job. So he doesn't get home facilities. He gets half the pay, basically, of many other coaches, and he still has them doing very well this year. He got some good players out there.
And Jason was an outstanding tennis player in high school. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, he actually played tennis for Cumberland. You know, playing tennis on the college level is a pretty big accomplishment. Playing any sport on the college level
Yeah, any
pretty
level
big
of college,
accomplishment.
that's you still get very few people who are able to actually do that.
And I'll tell you, Craig, his brother, Craig was a big dude, and he could still play tennis.
Yeah.
You know, they're lucky to have those guys up there, and you know, it would be hard to find another coach that would be willing to take that on. Both teams one supplement.
Yeah, especially after given the setup with no home field, you have to split your coaching staff, split your team.
And it's another one of those things. You know, a lot of times, especially in these smaller sports, the coach has to act kind of as the trainer. You know, if somebody gets injured. You know, what happens if Jason Ivy's down at the park with the girls and one of the boys gets injured? You know, he's the coach. He needs, and I'm not taking away from Craig. I know he can handle the situation, but you know, he shouldn't have to handle the situation.
Yeah, I mean, they need them together if possible, and maybe we'll get that someday up here. Maybe I'm not sure how long it'll be, but it would be good to have it.
It really would. I mean, you know, there's a lot we could do more with sports for the youth in this county. You know, we've got middle school soccer now. That's, you know, a relatively new thing. We've got middle school baseball. That's a new thing. But we also need to take care of the sports already in place.
Yeah, you know, it just takes a lot of work from a lot of people.
Fan,
It takes money.
we're out of time for this segment. We'll be right back to talk about the basketball coaching situation and other high school sports. So we'll be right back, fans.